don't feel safe.
Good evening, everybody, or depending what time of day it is, whenever you're listening to this. We are from the Mouse Madness and PIXAR Panic podcast, and we are starting something brand new here. We're going to give it a little try. We're going to be dedicating this kind of podcast to talking about cartoons in general, but old, new, or like somewhere in the middle. So we're going to be starting this one with Amphibia, a cartoon made by Disney, created by Matt Braley, and released in 2019. They're Jack 10, and as usual, I'm joined by all the people that stuck along with us for the longest. So, take it away, alphabetical order.
Hello, everybody. I'm IrishHuskie. I'm the original host of Mouse Madness. I'm the reason this kind of podcast exists in the first place, and I'm really excited to see how this goes. Amphibia is one of my favorite cartoons at the moment, so I get the feeling we'll have a lot to talk about here. Also, I am dead tired because I had a super long weekend, so if I sound a little lethargic later on, that's why.
I see. I am Carrick, aka RaccoonBro. I am a voice actor and also run a YouTube channel with about 1,500 subscribers as well, also titled RaccoonBro. And I've been here for a good majority of the journey, and Amphibia is a cartoon that I think is pretty solid, and I'm looking forward to discussing it.
Yep. Hello, I am Wesley. I took over the reins for PIXAR Podcast, though I think it is PIXAR Panic, though I think it's worth noting also we are past the 1 year mark for the original Mouse Madness, so this is like bringing it all back home for the 1 year gig.
Yay!
And I'm Yoda Jet 10. I joined this podcast. I'm pretty much the last person here who joined in the podcast, but I'm more than happy to be here and happy to start a new one. I love Amphibia too. I also do some writing and a little bit of voice impression of my own, including Hop Pop from the show and One Eye Wally, mates. Good to be here.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, I forgot to mention I've seen Amphibia too. I got caught up. The first season was good, but the second one is what people are talking about, because especially the recent finale, that knocked people's socks off, myself included.
Mine too.
Indeed.
Where would you guys like to start?
I think we should start how we first got introduced to Amphibia in the first place, how we came across it and what our first impressions of it were.
There was fan art of it before the show even came out.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, they did an Infinity War parody poster on DeviantArt, and it was in 2018 when all we had was promo images, and it had Anne and Sprig, and Luz for that matter, also from Owl House, alongside a bunch of shows that were currently airing.
Wow.
Let's see if I can still find it. I think it's in my...
I thought for a second you said outhouse.
In the outhouse.
I know for a fact that if Mad the cartoon was still around, it would make a parody of either the Loud House or the Owl House called Outhouse, because that's the kind of humor that show had.
Easy target. But yeah, I watched Amphibia, I think around premiere day when it was online. And I was just really getting into it because they used to air it all at once because Disney's preparing for streaming. But the first season was still pretty nice and pretty fun enough, just as its own thing. I thought it was also really funny. Every joke hit, and then around episode 10, the first arc hit. I just linked in the chat what the picture was that I was talking about.
Oh wow, that's actually really well made.
Yeah, and that was in 2018. Some of those shows weren't even out yet.
Black Cat's the villain, of course.
So I wondered if some of them would meet the fate of the Jar Jar action figure.
I see we got a swole SpongeBob over there.
Right, but no, it's because the people who bought Jar Jar before Phantom Menace even came out, they were disappointed.
This is going to be my new favorite character.
Right, But yeah, Amphibia ended up being a pleasant surprise because it was downbeat, it was nice, and then episode 10 started the first arc, but the progression felt pretty natural, and you got to see the specific worlds and the expansions of the place, and the characters were all so lively and fun. Even Sasha, who you don't think you're going to like at first, she still has a nice change of heart.
I think probably my favorite aspect about this show is how expansive and consistent the world building is. Like, it feels like a very lived-in world with different climates and different cultures, and you learn about it through the eyes of Luce, and it feels natural because
and
wrong show, Carrick.
Whoops.
Wait for the crossover.
Well, I didn't mean Anne. That's what.
Wait, is there actually going to be a crossover?
I doubt it.
Big City Greens did a clip show that included Chibi, Amphibia, and Owl House where they mentioned them, but that's not that doesn't count.
It's more like in jokes.
Yeah, I don't think the clip show is canon either. So
no, but my point does still stand about the world building.
Yep. Yeah, they really take their time. Like, it's a slow burn. Even when they were airing all at once, they eased their way into the new characters. You had to wait a whole season to see all three of them. Actually, to the end of the second season to see all three girls together.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising. It took them that long.
And because the first person they got reunited with was Sasha, it's understandable that the Planeters were super skeptical when they finally found
Marcy.
Marcy, thank you.
Yeah, everyone was speculating, what if Marcy just so happened to be evil?
But then Luce is like, I mean, Anne. Why do I keep calling her Luce? And it says that no way, like, she's completely different, and trying to take our try to redirect the audience because of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like she couldn't hurt a fly. Like, she's so clumsy. And meanwhile, Sasha, she's a surprisingly realistic, portrayal of an abusive relationship between friendships, and I was very surprised by how realistic that was.
Right.
That's that's one of the things that I really like about this show is, the way that it shows either abusive or manipulative friendships, like the ones that Anne had before getting transported, in contrast to the genuine friendships that she makes with the Planters and with everyone else in Wartwood. Makes for a really nice contrast, and this might be something we touch upon a little bit later, but I feel like the main theme of Amphibia is Anne realizing that her friends kind of suck.
Yeah, that is kind of true. And when Sasha says it's like tossing hands like end of discussion, I'm like, whoa, oh.
Like it gives you major the Bell vibes from Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
His parents rang the bell.
Speaking of Gravity Falls, we had a semi-crossover with this one in season 2.
That's the episode I was looking forward to the most, because I actually seen a clip of that on Twitter before.
Do you think that there are parallel universes existing simultaneously, and we exist unaware of the other's existence?
Have you been licking yourself again, Frogstooth?
Oh, you got me! And I love how he says Frogstooth. They don't even try to change his name.
That episode was so bizarre.
It's like they know.
Yeah.
They know that you know.
And at least everyone's okay, except for the curator. He's dead.
Is he actually dead?
Nope, it's just catch up.
We just sort of assume he's dead. I wonder if we'll get a return of him.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite part of that is like when the curator has Anne trapped, when Anne just like starts shaming herself, saying, "Why did it have to be so stupid?" He actually compliments her, saying, "Hey, don't say that. You're probably a very bright young lady who's just having a bad day." Well, thanks. That was actually very nice. That's just what I'm here for.
And then I think it was wax that was seeping through the door, like red wax.
Wax.
Yeah.
That's one of those clips I would want to post out of context, but not show, but cut off before he could be like, "Don't worry, it's just wax. Have you just think it's blood?"
Oh, speaking of, that reminds me of the school picture day of SpongeBob, where the teenagers were let out of school. They were pelting people with balloons full of ketchup. But before it's revealed that it's ketchup, a guy just gets hit and there's red everywhere. That'd be a great, that would be a hilarious, perfectly cut moment.
A similar thing happened in Chowder, too.
Oh, yeah.
Where you just see Chowder with a hammer, and Mugdall's like, "Chowder, what are you doing? No!" And then you just see red going everywhere, and then it cuts away before it can reveal what it actually was.
Right, but that's this show for you. It pulls no punches. It does humor. They did a noir episode. That was really funny.
I have to say, I am absolutely sick of noir episodes. It has become such a cliche in cartoons, but I did like how they did it. I liked how they did it here because of Hop Pop's narration and just how he was clearly going insane, just talking to himself the whole time.
Wait,
I don't know. I'm the
say that or
opposite.
just thinking?
I'm the opposite. I like noir episodes because they're fun parodies and it's fun to go with the narration. We had Squid Noir, and we had Rarity Investigates. I loved all three of those.
My problem is just that it's starting to become a cliche, and I hope it doesn't get overdone.
Oh, and you guys noticed that Hop Pop possibly killed somebody at the end of that episode?
I mean, I'm pretty sure he did. They said they found a body.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well,
you killed man, Hop Pop.
Wow, I'm starting to realize every character in Amphibia is a sociopath.
Yep.
Except maybe Sprig.
Maybe. Sprig's a good dude. We love him. And then we had 2 trip out episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I remember the first one. The first one, I think, was really had me cracking up, because when Anne and Hop Pop, they're about to, kill Spread, and, I cracked up, because, I felt so bad for it, too, because when Hop Pop and Anne were, making up, having this, nice reunion, back to normal, reconciliation, Spread is, on the floor sobbing, saying, "No, don't kill me! Don't kill me!" I'm I felt so bad for laughing, but it's just so funny.
Oh, yeah.
Right. He has blue hair in that episode, perhaps a little bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. She managed to turn Super Saiyan Blue way before Goku ever did.
Right. But I think that's why Anne's thing is heart, because she helps unite people and gives them their heart.
Yeah. And they even made they focused an entire episode about when she was super jealous of Marcy solving all the riddles really easily. They kept hammering home how good she is with forming relationships.
Yeah, but on their discount elements of harmony, getting the gems, they feel earned. Every character finding the challenge, getting within themselves, it all feels earned.
So, did they explain why the heart gem was glitching out at the end of that episode?
It wasn't fully charged.
Yeah, but did that ever come into play later?
I don't know, but it might.
Because I could tell that it wasn't fully charged since she went too early, but as far as I'm concerned, that hasn't really been fulfilled as a Chekhov's gun yet.
Maybe season 3. Remember, we're only in the middle. So if this is what we got from just the first 2 acts, season 3 is gonna... Whoa.
Because from the way the powers work, that would lead me to assume that the other girls should also be comparable, in theory. Once they have their moments.
Right. We got to see
unless the gem not being fully powered up specifically had to do with what happened to Anne.
Right, where she couldn't control it.
But that's all just
Really makes you think. Really makes you think. Also, for Zara Faisal's character, what's her full name? See if you can say it without skipping a beat.
Zara Faisal?
The pink newt with the Wolverine claws.
Oh, right. No, I don't remember. I'm not. As you can tell, I'm not the best with names.
General Yunnan, scourge of the Sand Wars, defeater of Ragnar the Wretched, and the youngest newt to ever achieve the rank of general in the great Newtopian army.
Yeah, and she always says all of those, like no skipping.
Yeah.
It's bad luck to
it's
not
General
do the whole
Yunnan,
thing.
scourge of the Sand. Yeah, we get it.
Like third time today. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I think General Yunnan is a great character. Like something I really like about her is that when they find out that Teen Andreas like becomes a villain, she like still fights on the side of good. Like you really expect her to be like turn like evil like she is, but like no, she does what's right. I really like that.
Like she's loyal, but not loyal to a fault.
Mm-hmm.
Right, she's not obsequious, as they say.
Well, plus you could tell that the voice actress is having a fun time, just like, being completely full of themselves and just like I'm awesome and I will say how awesome I am and also show you how awesome I am, but mostly say.
Right. And the fact that she basically had a solo that time because it was a Sasha episode, it was pretty nice seeing her without any interference.
It is refreshing watching a show that isn't afraid to completely spend time on side characters and not even show the other main characters, and they even make a jab at that where I think the episode where
the Maddie and Marcy episode.
The Maddie and Marcy episode that like Sprig and Anne are just hanging out on the couch.
I love meta jokes.
While the tadpoles are wreaking havoc on the city.
Good meta jokes like that one, like not forced. Just I've heard a few criticisms say Anna's a boring character, but I kind of disagree. She has development. She learns to pick her friends closely, and she has a good heart. I kind of like that.
And she has a good arc in, again, learning the true value of friendship. I remember an early episode where, Anne was trying to coerce Sprig into, I forget exactly what it was, something dangerous in the swamp, I think.
It was just, I think it was going swimming because Hop Hop told them to stay inside.
Okay, and, the way she talks about how Sprig isn't being a good friend, you can kind of hear in her voice that she's starting to kind of doubt it and question it because that's kind of the way that Sasha had been treating her back in the human world, and so that's kind of the perception of friendship that she has. And upon seeing Sprig's reaction, that's kind of the start of her kind of overall arc of realizing that her human friends weren't great, her frog friends are fantastic, because as Marcy says, I love the found family trope.
Props to Brenda Song for conveying that in her voice. That takes some practice.
And like
Sasha and Marcy were basically her only friends back in the human world, so she just assumed that's how friendships work. Because
and that's friends with air quotes, because they were kind of manipulative. Friends with air quotes.
Just people to be hung out with, let's say that.
Right.
Something else I've been thinking about, and feel free to question if you want, but I think this is what Starlight Glimmer should have been as a character. But the more I thought about it.
How so?
Well, like how you guys put it, like how she's like new to friendship, and Anne was previously raised by someone who had a bad friendship. She's now learning to become more open to a good friendship. People who are treating her nicely and teaching her how to become a better person. Whereas with Star Glimmer, every time we see her trying to do something friendship related, she always ends up doing like the worst extreme thing possible.
Well, I think a part. Obviously, we could save that for when we talk about the show more. But for now, let's just say it helps a lot that with in Anne's case, we actually got to see that a bit more, what her past experiences had been, and the logical through line to it almost making her Sasha 2.0 makes sense, because like she was our only real friend.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, even after she finds out that Sasha was a manipulator and kind of a bully, you can tell she's either in denial or still really hurt about that fact. Like, she still cares about Sasha even despite all that. And that's kind of realistic in the way that a lot of people in abusive relationships are. Like, they'll make excuses for the abuse because getting out of it is either scary, dangerous, or they'll have to admit that they're in a really bad situation and they can't come to terms with that.
We also see scenes like when...
take the end of just take the end of Reunion, the season 1 finale. Even after seeing what Sasha is and what she's like, when she's taken away by the Toad, she still ends up breaking down. I can't tell if that's because she still cares about Marcy or just the weight of everything that was revealed to her just crashing down on her. I don't know what it is, but either way, that moment hit very hard for me. It's one of two moments in this show that genuinely made me cry.
And I think what complicates matters even further is when they show the scene of how all three of them became friends for the very first time when Sasha defended them from those bullies. Like, we see that she still had redeeming qualities, and we understand why they hung out in the first place, because Sasha, stood up for them, and they felt safe around her because she was much more outgoing and willing to stand up for herself and others. But at the same time, she also was too controlling, and that seriously put a damper on her perception of what real friendship was like.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, the person that finally got that idea across Sasha's head that maybe she should let go is Toadie, of all characters. The biggest pushover in the entire show.
Right.
Yeah, I call him Frog LeFou because he kind of reminds me of LeFou from Beauty and the Beast.
I can see that.
But unlike Gaston, Mayor Toadstool actually goes through a surprising character arc I wasn't expecting, because he seemed like one of those characters who was just going to be like the irredeemable politician the whole time, but he gets his moments of glory where he uses his strength to save the citizens, or his political skills to outsmart people. It's interesting stuff. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I love his voice. How he sounds so
Stephen Root, baby.
Yep. Yes, that's sort of shown. And the world can seem pretty funky at times. Like, I always imagine Anne's phone works, kind of a tangent. I always imagine it works by Magic Tavern logic, where it's just parallel to the Earth, so she could still get the Wi-Fi.
Huh.
Like it's a flip of the Earth, so she still exists on the same plane.
Her data usage. I hope her family gave her an unlimited data plan.
Right.
You also got to love how her phone was charged to 10,000% to kind of write off any need for it to be charged in the future.
Which would logically fry the phone.
But it's a cartoon, so we suspend our disbelief more easily.
Yeah, it's like Phineas and Ferb to platypus, even though those are technically illegal, so we could just let it slide.
I mean, there's that one real life video of the guy just walking an emu down the road. So who knows?
Right.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah, but this show is silly and it really funny. So when it did take a turn for the dramatic, our jaws kind of dropped.
Yoda, you trying to say something?
Yeah, I was talking about Toady, where near the end,
You're breaking up a little there.
jumps into his arms, and he's just like, "Don't leave me!" and he like holds it for like an uncomfortable amount of time, where like first like, "Oh, that's cute," but then he's just like, "This is getting weird."
It's funny in that episode. Toadie's like it's one of the few times that he actually like stands up to Toadstool, or yeah, because he's hesitant at first about going to the Toad Tower, but he's like, no, like this is your dream, you got to do it, man. But then but then once he's told that he won't be his assistant anymore, like he completely breaks down.
Right. We have a lot. Yeah, we have a lot of silly episodes, but even those are about building character and getting the relationships together. And of course, there's the funny thing with Polly. I learned in elementary school that frogs grow their back legs first.
Oops.
So she should have
Well,
been
they're magic
armless
frogs,
instead
but-
of legless?
Yep.
They're magic frogs, so it's fine, I guess.
Well, with the radioactivity and climate change affecting amphibians in such ways, maybe there's some stance to that.
Yeah,
They're not magic frogs, they're actually nuclear abominations.
Right.
Yeah, like I felt like Polly getting her legs and like learning super strength, it actually felt earned. Like there were other times where like other cartoons you see where like a character gets something but it doesn't feel earned when they're just really good. But Polly, I can let slide because she's already kind of a badass, and seeing her run so fastly while kicking a lot of characters' butts, like really felt earned and really felt in character.
And it was
That-
also foreshadowed at the very beginning of the season.
That's right.
Not to mention that all throughout the show, she's shown to have, brute strength, as evidenced by her love of weaponry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the fact
she-
that she's so tiny and able to wield a mace so easily.
That shot of that slow-mo shot of her with the mace, that is truly iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also love Hop Pop's reaction to the whole thing where he goes, "My little baby's got legs!"
When somebody made a video, it's just a 4-second video of, I posted it in the general, it's just her running and going like, it's just 4 seconds long, it's really funny just by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel Hop Pop in general has has probably the best line deliveries on the show. Like
Oh,
Bill Farmer
Right.
absolutely nails the voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even when he had to get serious, like describing how their parents died, that really came across. 'Cause he went all out for that.
I mean,
Yeah, like
the man's got experience having to play silly characters that are forced to have dramatic moments. A good example being Goofy in any Kingdom Hearts game.
Or the Goofy movie, for that matter.
This is
Or
also
even,
true.
even like some of the Looney Tunes in Space Jam, he was like Yosemite Sam, Sylvester, and Foghorn Leghorn.
Oh wow.
Interesting.
This guy's got range, but that works to his advantage.
Right.
And
His dramatic moments, though, are the best. Like when he's mourning Charlie Big Bottom.
Yeah. Yeah, this show can really juggle around, so when it gets serious, it feels kind of natural. Like he can handle both tones pretty well. I think Gravity Falls kind of set the standard for the balance between them.
Right, and this
Yeah,
is how just a couple episodes apart, you can have something like Planters Check In that's just all about the goofiness and the comedy, and then you have Hopping Mall. Need I say more?
Oh no! Like it's one of those things where I'm like, when you see the end of the episode, when you see him win the thing, like, and they get the trophy, I'm like, okay, that's when the episode ends. So I'm like, wait, there's still a couple minutes left. When it happens here, like, oh, my mom died when I was young. I don't even remember. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I think Hopping Mall is probably my favorite episode.
I like Battle of the Bands, though I might be a little biased because of my musical stuff.
It helps that episode also has a Smash Brothers reference, and it doesn't feel forced.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's
Like,
fine.
They just brush it off like, I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah. That was also the introduction of Microangelo.
Yes, Microangelo. Oh, why is he so cute?
Because he's tiny.
He's micro.
Right.
like, you know, Wesley, on your Battle of the Bands, one of my favorite jokes in that whole show comes from that episode. It's when Mayor Toadstool and is it Duckweed? Is that the name of the newt that lives there? Like the one who's voiced by Waffle from Cat Scratch, Evan McDonald.
Yeah.
Is
I mean,
Think so, yeah.
that's it. Jack.
One of my favorite jokes is when they're the scorekeepers, and when Mrs. Kroger comes up and starts playing her spider like a theremin. Duckweed is just going crazy, holding up a big 10 sign, while Mayor Toadstool's like, just let's be following and holds up like a 2.0 sign.
The theremin, the classic meme instrument.
Yeah.
That episode had one of my favorite endings because, like, you know throughout the whole thing that Grime, yeah. You know throughout the whole thing Grime is planning something. You don't know what. Oh, you probably... But, like, I had the feeling that obviously it was probably going to be a subversion. Like, you expected something, like, hardcore, but instead it's a harp. I kind of saw that coming. What I didn't see coming was that it lasted 3 hours.
And nobody got bored because it was just so beautiful.
Oh dear, it's like a Peter Gabriel concert.
Like, because when he said he will win no matter what, he was serious. Like, he didn't see that as an opportunity to do a sneak attack or something. He just legitimately wanted to win the talent show because
he won fair and square. Like,
because he's so competitive.
Yeah.
You know, I always want to add something more about Grime, is that, like, even though design-wise he's the most terrifying character on the show's not shy of getting a lot of witty stuff out of him, because he could be just as funny as the other characters.
He is voiced by Troy Baker, who most people may know as Joel from The Last of Us. And
I know him as Excalibur.
Yeah, that's right, from Soul Eater. And
Excalibur.
he is probably one of the most talented voice actors in the industry, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he can also do like a great job of voicing both Batman and the Joker in that one TMNT crossover.
He's the only voice actor to do that, as far as I know, at least in the same project.
And I couldn't even tell. It just floats so natural. Yeah.
I'm looking through his Wikipedia page. Apparently his first voice role in animation, according to the page, was in Mr. Meaty.
Oh my god. Does that even count as animation, though?
It's puppets. Puppetry is real-time animation.
That's a debate I feel will never have a clear answer, because some people don't think the real-time disqualifies it.
Who the heck was he in Mr. Meaty?
He was Mr. Wink, the manager.
Oh my gosh.
That was him? Oh my gosh.
Mr. Meaty might get its own episode if we're brave enough.
God, that shows
I've never actually seen that show.
Freaking trip.
So, I'll have to
if you want,
You broke up a little there. I was gonna say about Mr. Meaty
Carrick?
someday,
What were you saying,
but
Jackson?
not today.
Yoda.
You're breaking up.
Yoda.
I was just wondering what you said.
I was gonna say
saying I'd never seen Mr. Meaty.
Hello? I couldn't hear you.
I had never seen Mr. Meaty.
Oh. Well, like, if you want
Those words. Is it possible to use them together in a sentence like that?
I've never seen Mr. Meaty. I've never seen Mr. Meaty. I've never.
Never seen Mr. Meaty. Good.
Okay. As far as I know, it's the only Nick show to use puppetry at the time.
Right.
How did you guys like Nick? How did you first get into Amphibia?
Just by seeing other people talking about it. It came out at a time where I really was not into cartoons. Like, the only one I was actually watching was The Loud House.
What about Hilda? You watched Hilda?
Yeah, but that was on hiatus at the time.
Man, I haven't watched The Loud House in so long. I gave up on that show a while ago.
Yeah.
You haven't watched The Loud House in a long time? Good. Now it's my turn.
Yeah. I haven't watched it in a while either, and it's not even because I got bored of it. It's because I got distracted by Jackie Chan Adventures of all things. And then I just kind of forgot about it.
Oh, I have actually seen Jackie Chan Adventures. We'll put a pin on that for a future video.
Cool. But yeah, I just saw people talking about it on DeviantArt, on Twitter. Mostly positive reception. I think the first isolated clip I ever saw was the end of the driving episode with the famous "I don't feel safe" line.
Oh yeah, the meme.
That had me cracking up like crazy.
Yeah.
Was it the episode where Anne was learning to drive Bessie for the first time?
Yes.
Yeah, that was
I really like that episode. It is it made me realize, oh man, Bessie is clearly not just a vehicle. Like, they actually want to make her an interesting character, and the arc of Anne learning to respect her as more than just a vehicle. Like, I really liked that.
Yeah, it's a good thing for like people who like just want to like ride horses or ride any other sort of animals. Like, on top of that,
I mean, even just something that isn't alive, like a car. Like, after that tornado like went by my apartment, and my car, I had a broken window. I was like way more protective of my car after that. Like, I will not let anything hurt you, and ever again.
Right.
So take pride in your vehicles, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Funny thing about Amphibia, both the Mouse Madness channel and my own YouTube channel, in both cases, the most popular video is Amphibia related.
really?
Yeah. So for the Mouse Madness channel, it's a frog can really hear himself think out here, and then it's Gangsta's Paradise. Yeah, I'll link it in chat. It's sitting at something like 30,000 views at this point.
Right. And it surged right at the finale too.
Yeah, and on my other channel, my most popular video is just from a few days ago. To Play the Forbidden Note, and it's the opening note from Black Parade.
That has a lot of meme potential. Like, you could put anything there.
Right.
Dude, I'm proud of myself that all it took was one note for me to be able to get the joke.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And Carrick, I think you were a Johnny Come Lately when it came to Amphibia.
A Johnny Come Lately.
You were late to the party.
Yes, I had not. I had put off Amphibia at the time because I wanted to watch Big City Greens, which was the cartoon that I had been campaigning for people to watch.
Right, Harvey Beaks transplants.
Like, for me, when I was watching Amphibia, like, I was one of those like those people, like, I was a bit snobby when I was just like, oh, every cartoon is just trying to be like Gravity Falls, it just doesn't feel the same. But I'm like, maybe I'll lighten up a little bit with Amphibia. I'm like, sure enough, I'm like, I freaking love the show. I want to see more of it. And the same thing with Big City Greens. I was like, when I heard a lot of people talking about it, I'm like, okay, I'll give this a watch. And the first 2 episodes had me cracking up like crazy.
Yeah, Big City Greens was a show that took me a while to get into. I remember seeing the first 10 episodes, like just one a day, then just kind of fell out of it. And then a couple weeks ago, I just decided to watch the rest of the series, and I don't know what to tell you. It's fantastic.
That's a story for another time.
Indeed.
But pretty great. But it's pretty interesting also with Amphibia how all 3 of them end up in different parts with 3 different species. And as such, their upbringing is based on how they are integrated with those 3 species.
When they kept talking about Newtopia, I was like, "Oh, it's a utopia, and it just got started. It's brand new." But then they actually got to the place and it was a bunch of newts, and I was like, "Oh, now I get it."
Yeah.
And I think there's a story, I forget where Newtopia is NEU-topia, like the German.
But it further confused me even more.
Noitopia.
Yeah. But and what did we all think of Kermit the Frog in character doing a voice cameo?
That was hilarious. That was great.
Yeah.
You know, if Big City Greens even did that with Fozzie Bear, like he played a dentist in one episode. I thought that was really great how they did it for this show.
I think it's still credit puppeteer.
I still prefer Steve Whitmire, but it was a nice cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I will admit, Kermit's newer voice is like I'm starting to get used to it. Like it doesn't hit me in the same ways as like Jim Henson or Steve Whitmire, but like he's getting there. That's all I can say.
Bro, and it was just funny seeing him there, and he's still a puppet.
Yeah.
I think the reason he hasn't quite hit for me yet is because I've been watching, the Muppet Show, as I've said before, and Kermit's kind of a dick in a lot of those episodes, and I feel like Matt Vogel hasn't really captured that energy yet of him, because he's basically just a boss who's fed up with everyone not taking things seriously, and he's just trying to keep things organized. And Steve Whitmire understood that for the longest time when he was still Kermit's voice actor.
Yeah, you forget how savage Kermit can be on the Muppet Show when you see him in the movies and spin-off material.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't forget, he can also be pretty savage on Sesame Street.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Don't you remember when he ripped into Cookie Monster when he took his plate? He insulted him like crazy and said he was going to go tell his mom. Kermit wasn't holding back any punches with him.
I love any moment when someone's just trying to be like, can I do this act on the show? And they do something ridiculous and Kermit's just like, why'd y'all get out of here?
I love when he did it to Mark Hamill once, because when Kermit asks, well, what kind of stuff can you do? Mark says, oh, well, I'm known to do impressions. Yay! Oh, it's good, yeah. Who do you do?
Right, we had that, and the whole idea, and of course we've been putting off on talking about one certain character because we would kind of build up to what we're all here and why we chose Amphibia. We put off Marcy.
Oh yeah, of course, her too. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Even more than Ange, she's arguably the pivotal character.
Right. Because it's her fault everyone's here.
How we have fallen from grace. She started off as such a innocent, lovable. Oh man, I would die for this character. She's too pure for this world. And then,
it's her and Luz. I never connected with another character like her and Luz.
Yeah.
But then the big reveal.
When her true colors were revealed.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's why it's called that.
Yeah, we said basically every character except Sprig is a sociopath. Marcy is set up to be a little different, but then we find out she's no saint either.
Right.
Yeah, but I will say this about Marcy, even though I do sympathize with what she did, like a lot of people say no, she's still innocent and stuff like that. I'm like, no, yeah, I feel sorry for what she did, but she's not innocent. She still did a really bad thing. Don't act like she's innocent. I like Marcy. I feel sorry for her, but I'm she still did something bad.
That's the whole episode and her arc is that she still messed up. Yeah, she messed up to it. Yeah, she she had some development over it, but consequences are consequences.
Exactly. And you know what I was saying about how the big arc for Anne is realizing her human friends are kind of bad? This is what we're talking about. Because here's the thing. Because Marcy, let's say she didn't know what the box would do. Let's say she thought it was just a prop, didn't know it would transport them. She still teamed up with King Andreas for the purpose of getting the box to work again so that they could go visit other worlds so that they'd never have to be apart. But this isn't just about Marcy. Sasha and Anne also left that world too. They have family and presumably other friends who are probably worried sick about them, and Marcy just doesn't care. She's either too callous or too insecure about losing her friends that she's willing to keep those friends away from other people who care about them.
I'd love to see how time works in Amphibia in the next season. Like, how long were they gone? Does time flow the same here? Or is it like Narnia time where it's faster in Amphibia?
Right, but point is, for them, it's been weeks or months, and that's obviously having an effect on them, and Marcy was still going to team up with Andreas for the purpose of keeping them together but away from the human world. Like, she's so desperate not to leave her friends, she's willing to team up with someone who would end up stabbing her in the back.
I guess as a cruel fate of catharsis, she got shot through the heart, and you're to blame.
Right. Yeah, I keep thinking of like the theme from Final Fantasy VII, where you know what happens.
You know.
Yeah,
Like,
it's public domain at this point. There's like some point where the spoilers are just common knowledge.
It's a meme. Like, even Smash Brothers makes fun of it in Sephiroth's reveal trailer.
Yep. Yeah, but we had that, and it kind of also goes with Marcy's corruption and character arc. Like, she didn't have bad intentions, but she did still screw up and paid the price for it.
Right.
Have you guys seen this Gay Frillis clip where he took that scene and he put audio over it?
What was that?
He put Nakey Jakey audio over it.
Oh no, I slipped.
I killed a child. Now I'm going to jail.
I made something like this on Twitter, where after she got stabbed, she said, "Oh, look at that! I've been impaled."
All right.
On the subject of Marcy, I also want to talk about King Andreas. Like, oh man, this guy is a great character and a great twist villain, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I think it worked because we had several episodes to build up to it. I think twist villains work better in shows because there's just, by the nature, more time to build up.
And the thing is, it makes sense because at the end of certain episodes, you see he's up to something. You don't know what, but you know it's not good. And hey, it's not good. That's how you do it.
I mean, literally the very first scene with him is his face not even being shown, and you just see his hand. All the pieces are coming into place.
Right. And we talk also about how hard Amphibia went with its finale. I mean, not even Gravity Falls got a viewer discretion advised.
I was thinking to myself, like, man, if they actually, because I knew that something was gonna happen. I wasn't sure what it was, and then like when Sprig fell supposedly to his death, I was like, oh dang, is this why we get the warning? Or are they actually gonna kill a main character who's also a child? But then they didn't. I was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, they've done the fake out death before, it's fine, and like I don't see why that's such a big deal. And then Marcy got stabbed, and I was like, oh, okay.
Eee.
Well, there's no blood, and by Disney rule, no blood means you'll survive.
Right.
And like, we do see her in like a stasis chamber. I love, by the way, that they gave us a teaser to season 3's opening. Like, makes me really excited. And the music that they played, it was just like an electric guitar rendition of what we were used to. It really kicked hard. I loved it.
Yeah.
Well, like something else I like is that like you think like Marcy's gonna become like a Darth Vader-like character due to her being in a stasis chamber.
Probably, or maybe she could be a vessel for some demon like The Exorcist.
Or even Andreas, when you think about it.
Right. Yeah, all that.
No,
I keep trying to watch the show and think of what Anne's D&D class would be. Like, Sasha's obviously a fighter, Marcy's obviously a striker, but I'm not sure what Anne would be.
Acrobat!
I think maybe she'd be dual class as a fighter and a cleric, because her thing is for heart, for healing, but she gets a sword, so fighting.
Hey, Wes, have you ever seen the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon?
Nope.
Or do you at least know like what the premise of it is, where it's a bunch of kids on a roller coaster and it transports them to D&D world, and
so it's like Amphibia.
there's just a D&D guy like, fear not, warrior, ranger, magic user, acrobat.
Oh yeah. No, acrobats like rogue. They rogue it up and they use agility and the silver tongue to solve all their problems.
Oh.
But no, Anne would probably be a cleric.
I wonder, would Polly be a barbarian?
Probably.
I know some terms.
Right, I had this whole campaign idea set with partially within Amphibia involving Disney characters. It's been fun.
Oh,
Yeah, like, but something else I want to bring up about Amphibia too is just the voice acting in general. Like, we already covered Brenda Song and Bill Farmer, but the rest of the characters have spot-on voices. Like, just in general. You're literally some of the main characters, or like some of the more like guest stars they bring in. Every character I think is matched up perfect.
Amanda Layton is probably one of the highlights for me, because you know she gets it's a fitting voice for Polly because it's very cute and like aw, but at the same time it makes the moments where she drops the facade even funnier, where like the moment where she basically claims she's an anarchist.
Right. I'm glad she went somewhere after, you know. Polly's voice actor started on.
Right, that's right. I forgot about that.
Everyone did.
Like, yeah, like when I found out she was Blossom on the reboot, I was like, at least she's up to it. At least she's doing something better now.
At least
like
she got
I'm
work.
happy.
Well, they can't all be winners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that show still airing?
Nope.
Oh, good.
Or at the very least, it hasn't aired a new episode in 2 years.
Meanwhile, Teen Titans Go has made it its new mission to cross over with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
300 episodes. No Cartoon Network show has ever crossed 300 episodes.
Wow.
But
Yeah, like I will say, I have seen the DC Superhero Girls big crossover that they had. It sucks. It really sucks.
I kind of like the Beetlejuice crossover because they got Adam Brighton who played him on Broadway. That was that was really cool.
That was nice.
I really like the Freakazoid crossover. That one is my favorite.
Yeah,
that's my favorite crossover.
That was pretty good. But we'll have to wait till season 3. I wonder if Amphibia will be the hub to sponsor the new crossovers. Like if they ever invite Owl House or Big City Greens, it'll be through Amphibia.
I mean, they've already made kind of quasi cameos in both shows.
I mean, there's so much dimension hopping.
And it was the aforementioned clip show.
It would, exactly. It wouldn't be that out of nowhere for suddenly Hootie to just pop out of the ground.
Right. The specific genre of person in another world. The Japanese call it isekai, but the scholarly term we use here in America is portal fantasy.
Yeah,
I think I prefer isekai.
No, yeah. I will say this, like, since we're talking about crossover Teen Titans Go, I'm surprised that no other Disney cartoon has done this, like, but Teen Titans Go is doing a thing tonight where the characters are watching Space Jam and doing a commentary on it. I'm like,
something like that with
hasn't
Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, I'm like, why hasn't Disney done something like that? I mean, could you see some like the Amphibia characters watching The Princess and the Frog, or like the Dragon Ball characters?
Yep. But you see, Jimmy Neutron was funny because they were riffing on themselves.
Yeah, I remember seeing that as a kid, and it introduced me to the concept of riffing and the Mystery Science Theater style of comedy.
Yeah.
Yo, what was Jimmy Neutron doing again?
It was basically Mystery Science Theater, but on their first movie.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I think it'd be funny.
It would be funny to have Amphibia watch Princess and the Frog. Sprig would say, like, this is so inaccurate. We don't do that.
Do you think maybe they would be offended?
Right. And they might even point out Keith Facilier. Hey, he sounds like Andreas.
I don't. Man, he must be a trustworthy guy in that case.
Yeah.
Like they watch it before the betrayal.
Right.
Like Keith David. Like I just want to mention and praise the hell out of Keith David. He did superb.
Yeah, he also voiced Spawn and Goliath. Those are two characters we may or may not get to eventually.
That's
I also want.
Keith David's the kind of guy that I would really like to hire on Cameo just to say random stuff, but in his voice.
He was also Gary.
Yeah, and SpongeBob, like in the episode where we hear Gary talks, he calls him Papa Bob.
Huh.
And he took over as Glossaric, I believe.
Yeah, he did. It was seamless.
Yeah, but something I really like about Kane Andreas is he seems like such a really nice guy at first. He seems like an awesome guy. Like people described him as like a gigantic cinnamon roll. Like, and I'm just, when I saw him, I'm like, I didn't want him to become evil because he was just such a carefree, jolly, like gentle giant.
Well, yeah, you know who else was introduced in a similar way? Lotso.
Yeah, like
oh, yeah.
I want to say this. In terms of twist villains, I think Keen Andrews is right up there with like Stinky Pete or Mr. Water News in terms of great twist villains.
Right,
like,
I agree.
Yeah,
like in terms like
yeah, and also for the big giant cinnamon roll thing, the largest amphibian, it's worth pointing out, is this type of salamander called the Hellbender. Whoa. So maybe we could think of Andreas as that.
They should have just called him Hellbender. I like that name.
It's a kids show, though. Even DuckTales had to say heck.
Or how Dragon Ball had to call it Hiffle.
Yeah, like in terms of twist villains, like the thing is, the way that twist villains can work is if like you keep the motivations the same, and and the characters are still the same, because even when Keen Andreas, like when he becomes evil, he still talks in like that jokey kind of voice. Like he says, "You guys are serious, okay?" And he says stuff like, "Oh, looks like I spilled the beans," as you kids say. Like he's still like. It's still the same character. He doesn't just go complete 180 in terms of characters.
How do you do, fellow kids?
And when you think about it, everything he does is for the good of his kingdom. It's selfish in that he is thinking about his people and his people alone.
He only wants to conquer the world for the same reason that other kingdoms wanted to do conquests: resources and expansion.
It's just, I don't think other countries in our world had access to a gigantic floating castle weapon with ancient technology as well.
That would have been cool, though.
As well as something that could take you to different universes entirely.
Right. But
are we going with universes or dimensions?
Dimensions. They're basically interchangeable in this context.
Yeah.
I think even Anne said, "I'm from another dimension, not the 90s. Thanks for making me feel old, Anne.
I'm from the last 2 months of the 90s.
And also, like, what do you guys think of other characters like Ivy? I really like Ivy as a character.
I like Ivy. And I like.
I'm really glad that they gave her own episode.
I'm glad she learns Muay Thai. That's pretty unique and cool.
It's something that always bugs me about shows that give the character a love interest is that the love interest kind of doesn't get as much, screen time as everyone else or a chance to grow on their own. But they gave her own episode, and it was really good too.
Yeah, your relationship with Sprig isn't forced; like it grows naturally.
It was so adorable because Anne was saying to Sprig like it's okay for you to wait, but then like Ivy comes over and like you could see the look on her face, and I was just like, oh, she's going first. Oh, it's so adorable.
Yeah, and also Maddie. The general rule of thumb with Wesley, with Maddie, the goth girl is always the best.
She probably has one of my favorite voices in the show.
Yes, something else I want to say about Ivy is that I'm so glad they don't do the whole, oh, she hit you because she likes you. That's something I'm so sick of in shows right now, especially in cartoons.
And it's pretty unrealistic, too.
No, it's clearly portrayed more as a competitive, like they're having fun sort of rivalry, kind of like the first episodes of SpongeBob and Sandy having karate contests.
You can even say it's something like Simba and Nala from the Lion King when they do the whole Pinja Dien kind of stuff they did with the Cubs.
Apparently, real lions act too. Apparently, real lions act like that too.
And it's also important to the plot because that's how he recognized it was Nala to begin with. But that's a discussion we've already had.
But it also works for Amphibia because Sprig does the whole ambush thing to save his family.
It's sort of like training in a way. And they do the whole Karate Kid thing where it's just the seemingly mundane tasks you do are actually integrated into your martial arts training. Like everything we do is a part of it. Well, like that's one of the moments I really like from the Karate Kid movie, like the new one, where Jackie Chan says like everything we do is kung fu. Like that was a really interesting moment that wasn't in the original that got added. And it was similar principle here.
For Ivy, you mean? For which episode? For the one with her and her mother?
Yeah, because she. Oh, I thought you guys. I assumed we were on the same page. I'm talking about when Ivy was being forced to do all those tasks, but then we realized that by the end of the episode, it was all training, teaching her how to do Muay Thai.
Ah, that's right.
Muay Thai, which is
sorry if I sounded like I was going off on a completely random tangent.
Well, that's the show for you.
Yes, indeed.
There's simply a lot to discuss.
And I'll say this about Amphibia. Amphibia is one of those shows where I cannot think of a single character that I dislike. Even the characters that I'm supposed to hate, I end up enjoying in some way. Even with Mayor Toadstool, who I'm supposed to find is a corrupted bastard, he's such an enjoyably corrupted bastard. Around the first season.
I don't know, Tony. That performance was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should run her out of town just to be safe.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna hate Sasha, and for a while I did, especially at the end of the first season. But the way that she was handled in season 2, how she isn't compromising, but she's kind of doubting herself, and the fact that Anne and the Planters are still very wary of her, even after she says that she's changed. I like that. I like the direction they took there.
I also like her connection with Grime too. Grime, it doesn't just see her as a pawn. He genuinely respects her and wants to be at her side when wanting to take over the world. And even he goes through a believable redemption when he joins forces with the Planners to help take down Andreas.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That sort of thing.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the whole whole that episode where we see what Sasha has been up to, like the first one in season 2 that she appears in, we learned that she's not only fighting because she's bitter, but because she doesn't want to lose another friendship. In this case, being Grime and the other toads that stuck around. But then in the other episode where they were trying to get like all the toads on their side for the invasion, we see that her actions have permanent consequences, and those toads that stuck by her couldn't take it anymore. And I'm glad that the show had showed that Sasha's actions like aren't they don't crap, what am I trying to
they're not isolated to herself, I guess.
Right.
Well, because Grime was able to, stick around, but the other toads weren't, and I like that there's permanent consequences to her actions.
Right.
Yeah. I think that was the episode that like started me liking Sasha. Like, this could be the start of a great arc for her, and it was.
Like, I don't know. Doesn't she seem a little suspicious? It seems like she belongs. Suspicion Island!
I thought you were making a Among Us joke for a sec.
Oh man, like everything I love everything that has to do with Suspicion Island whenever the characters bring it up. Like back to season 1 and how they actually managed to bring it back for season 2. That was such a great little callback.
As long as Sprig doesn't say, I don't know, they're looking pretty sus if you ask me.
Oh dear.
And then it just shows an emergency meeting being called.
I honestly could totally see the show doing that.
Right.
I mean, it's been long enough. It's been out for long enough. I'm sure season 3 is still being worked on.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, season 3 though was confirmed to be the last, but I think having a good 3-act structure makes the story feel more integrated and less like they're flying by the seat of their pants.
Right.
Yeah.
The seat of their clown pants.
Right.
Yeah.
So Matt Braley's had time to formulate, and he probably already pitched the show with an ending in mind.
Something else I want to bring up about Amphibia is in general, just about like the comedy in the show is on point. Like, this show is one of the funniest I've seen in quite a long time. Like, since Gravity Falls, we're talking like top tier levels of animated comedy.
Amphibia is a show that makes me smile more often than laugh. Like, I'm not sure what it is, but there aren't that many moments I can look back on that made me go like into hysterics. Just like moments that made me go like, "Huh, that was clever." Or there was never any point, at least, that made me cringe or be like, "Oh, that was really unfunny." Just it was like, like neat, that kind of thing. There are some points though that I can look back on where I did absolutely bust a gut. So many moments in the one where it was entirely a Sprig episode, and he was using the unlimited gift card to just wreak havoc on the hotel they were staying in.
Oh, that was...
Yeah.
Such as just like him drinking that coffee and time slowing down for him. Just moments like that had me on the floor.
Yeah.
And then
Nothing does.
another Gravity Falls connection. Kristen Shaw was in that.
Yeah, like one moment of that episode that I think is just unbelievably hilarious is when Sprig goes to the barber shop and he gets like these really nice haircuts, but then like the barber really gives it all into Sprig's hair. It's like, and he does a great job. So proud of himself, and Sprig's like, "Thanks, mister. Now to put on my hat." When he just like starts crying. I'm like, oh,
the barber didn't understand the concept of compromising character design.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have been funny if at one point he took off his hat and he still had that hairstyle?
That would be a nice continuity joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Are there anything? Is there anything you guys are hoping for in season 3?
I'm hoping for some exploration of Anne's parents to see her family life. She has a dad. Her dad was never mentioned before, but that's pretty interesting.
Something I'm hoping for is that, like, since, like, Sprig and Polly are now surrounded by parent characters, they're probably gonna know what it feels like to have, like, a mom and dad, since, like, they lost theirs when they were babies.
Right.
I'm curious to see how they handle because up to this point it's been just Anne as a human in a frog world having to overcome discrimination. So I'm curious how the Planter family is going to react to that now that the tables have been turned, since they are the freaks this time.
Oh, man.
Oh, how the turntables.
Right.
What are there any people that you want to see guest star on Amphibia as, like, special voices? Because the second season had, like, guest stars out the wazoo, like people like George Takei, like big names like that.
Well, we've already gotten Kristen Shaw and Alex Hirsch. Why not get Thurp Van Orman in on the action?
Oh yeah, him. He'd be good. Or J.G. Quintel, another Flapjack alumnus.
Has Rob Paulson made a cameo yet?
I don't think so.
Get him.
I mean, that guy's in every cartoon, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and Weird Al's in everything, so...
I'll tell you one thing. I really want to hear Wayne Knight come on the show at some point. Like, because that guy can play, like, any kind of character. Whether, like, someone who's, like, neurotic, someone who's wisecracker, or, like, even just, like, an outright villain. Like, that guy, like, never fails to amaze me.
You have been on a Wayne Knight campaign to spread the glory of Wayne Knight recently.
Oh, I hold no shame for it, because, like, that guy's just, like, is super talented.
I don't blame you.
Oh, make him play a guy named Newman.
Yeah.
Newtman.
Yeah, see? This guy gets me. I was just about to say
there
that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if he was just a human, but he just still had the name Newtman, and, like, the planners, like, all hated him?
No particular reason.
Like Hot Pod would just go, "Hello, Newtman."
I don't know why. Something about him rubs me the wrong way. Oh man, what if they just randomly got Michael Richards on the show just out of nowhere?
Oh man, that'd be so fun.
By the way, Michael Richards is on the show, and they just gloss over it and don't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
So, what are some of you guys' favorite characters and episodes?
Well,
favorite characters and episodes.
Do you think should we limit it to just one character in one episode?
Let's do one character and a couple episodes.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll start. My favorite character is Sprig. Love his relationship with Anne, and I just love his antics and his quirks. I'm pretty sure he has ADHD. I can relate.
Yeah, like, I think one of my favorite lines from Sprig is during the talent show when he says, "Mediocrity is comforting."
No. And as for favorite episodes, I think my favorite from season 1 would be the finale reunion.
Mm-hmm.
That's because I think it's a great way to kind of wrap up the first part of that arc, and obviously opens up the doors for a lot more world building and exploration, which they take full advantage of in the second season. From season 2, I'd probably have to go with Planners Check-In, because it's a Sprig episode, and the comedy is top-notch.
And Carrick?
For favorite character, that one goes to Polly. I've always been fascinated by the cute, unassuming characters at first glance, such as Kirby, who it's like, oh, like I could just like hold him tight and never let go, but then you realize that they are actually monsters capable of mass destruction, and it adds to the charm of just that complete juxtaposition.
It's kind of like Hootie.
Yeah, exactly. And Polly, it definitely embodies a lot of that. And she also has so many moments where, at the same time, you are reminded that she is still just a kid. So there are episodes where she feels like she isn't, being listened to, such as the one where she, replaces herself with an egg, and because it feels like no one's paying attention to her, or even the episode where she has to deal with she can get scared sometimes. That's A Night at the Inn, very very good episode.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
I was not expecting them to go down the cannibal route, and it was a very fantastic episode.
It made sense in something like Disenchantment, but this is like a kids show. You're really gonna show that on a kids show?
And it did a lot to further Polly's character, and like she feels like she doesn't need to be hardcore all the time. She can rely on her family to protect her, that kind of thing. And my favorite episode, I did mention earlier, but I think it's probably trying to find the name of it, because sometimes it's probably got to be Hopping Mall, because the competition was a lot of fun, just like so many fun animation things happening, the side plots of everyone getting their own thing, like Polly getting Michelangelo and Hop Pop being completely enamored with the massage chair, like all really funny stuff. And I also really liked Priscilla's character, and she is competitive and tries to put Anne and Sprig down, but she also does accept her defeat fair and square. And the moment of her and them reconciling was really cool. And of course, the balcony scene. Not much else I can say about that. It's something you gotta see to get the experience.
Right.
The Carrick, did it leave you at the end like similar how the Iron Giant did when you put up that picture on Twitter? Of yourself just crying your eyes out.
Amphibia has not made me cry. But it did. It did give me a really. It did give me a deep understanding of what Sprig had been through, and him and Polly as well. Because I have no idea what it's like to lose a parent, and so I felt
like our big event one. Like they'll say, your parents will talk about they were there when they found out who shot JR. This was sort of we were there to see Hopping Mall. We saw Sprig confess.
And it also served as a good foreshadowing of Hop Pop's motivation later on in the series, why he was being so secretive.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, admittedly, that moment where he's like, I did it because Sprig and Polly's parents died, those moments kind of annoy me, because I'm so used to the whole two characters are arguing about something why did you do this? I can't believe you did this. Nothing can ever change the horrible thing you did. And then the person just says somebody died. You're like, oh, okay, I guess it's fine. I'm a little over those kinds of moments, but I appreciate that in this show it at least took a couple episodes for Anne to finally trust Hop Pop fully. I appreciated that at least.
Yeah.
No, something I want to add on that is apparently this was never a secret from Sprig or Polly, because they immediately tried to say to Hop Pop no, that was never your fault. Don't blame yourself. So scenes like that actually kind of really hit home for me too. Where they try to say no, please don't blame yourself.
They always knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if Hot Bob never told him, they might have just sort of instinctively known.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I guess it's my turn.
Yes, it is.
Well,
Go ahead.
I also like Sprig for a lot of the reasons they mentioned here, and when he says "spraying against the world," that makes it think about a lot, and it hits home because social outcast, and Nick pretty much summarized a lot of it. And yes, Sprig might have a ADHD or at least be some kind of neurodivergent, but I can totally relate to that. And I have it for both seasons. I think it's fair. My favorite from season 1 is probably dating season because it feels natural, and the way the frog courtship works is just so silly. I get into it.
And I just
then,
love at the end how Sprig just casually drops and Anne just casually drops. You're falling in love with her, aren't you? Yep.
Yeah.
Doesn't even try to hide it.
And then for season 2, again, I say Battle of the Bands because it's sort of like a calm before the storm. You get to see all the characters together, and it's just a fun party. And the final resolution of how they lose, but it's my honest loss.
Right.
Grime wins fair and square.
Oh, hey, speaking of, I once saw a video. It's like True Colors, but Anne is in denial. And as soon as Marcy gets stabbed, Anne starts singing "It's No Big Deal."
Oh dear.
Oh man.
And apparently the song is her transformation cue. Like they play a slowed down version of it when she goes Super Saiyan.
Huh.
Yeah.
I guess if I had to choose a favorite episode from season 1, it's probably Snow Day, because completely out of it, Sprig is one of the funniest things on this show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you also remember the bit where like Toadstool and Toady are frozen, but Toady is just like hugging their Toadstool while stuck in ice?
Yeah. You say he's the Toad version of LeFou. I think a comparison I would go with is the Toad version of Mort from Madagascar.
Oh yeah, that's also.
yeah.
That's also. Wait! I thought we were talking about Mort, not Dan Schneider.
Oh my gosh. Quentin Tarantino. I would have accepted Quentin Tarantino.
But yeah, All Hail King Julian. That's another one we might discuss because that one's just wacky.
Yeah, I heard one of you guys say it was kind of like Rocko's Modern Life in terms of its humor. Is that true?
Is it?
Basically, it's also kind of like an Adult Swim show, like Aqua Teen or Rick and Morty. It's just out there, off the wall.
Is it?
Oh, gee.
Is it actually considered a good show?
It's all right. I mean, it got 5 seasons.
Really?
Sometimes Go has 5 seasons, my dude.
All right. But anyway, Jackson, you want to say character in episode?
Yeah, like my favorite character, like it's probably a tie. Like it's a tie between Sprig. Like I don't think I can have what you guys had. Like I enjoy Sprig for the same reasons, but he's also tied with Hop Pop. Hop Pop, I just love as a character. Like I love how he's like both extreme about his actions, but at the same time, you can tell that he just loves his family. Yeah. So much, like he would train it for the world.
Yeah, there's one line that encapsulates all of that you just said. Ah, straight freaks! Oh wait, it's just my granddaughter and my adopted granddaughter.
And like for Hop Pop, one of my trying to think was a great. Since today is Father's Day, I love how people are focusing more on Hop Pop as like a father figure. Even if the show focuses more as like a grandfather like character, he's still technically a father, and he basically did these traits of both Sprig and Polly, which I think is good. I'm glad he's getting more appreciation as that.
He's basically the Granny Smith of this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And let's see, my favorite episodes. I think if I had to name my favorite season 1 episode, it had to be, I think it's called Taking Charge. It's when Hop Pop drains all of Anne's phone battery, and they have to go out and get a special charge. and when Hop Up just like confesses everything, he just goes, "It was me." That's like that delivery is just like on point. Like is just so joyfully handled.
And she has them watch like a Lost ripoff or something.
I appreciate how in that episode, the person who did it wasn't immediately apparent, because it actually could have been any of them. I was like, it's probably Hop Pop, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sprig or Polly had also done it.
Or
yeah,
maybe
so I
Anne
appreciate
did it
that it wasn't predictable who did it.
Yeah, but for my favorite season 2 episode, that is also a very tricky one, because there are like several episodes from season 2 that I could say are my favorite. Oh man, if I had to point like some I like the episode where they're out on the road when they're doing the theater, and they come across like this theater group, and it turns out they're a bunch of criminals. That was great, and like the leader of all is voiced by Meg from Hercules, Susan Egan.
Ooh.
Yes. Also, Belle from Beauty and the Beast on Broadway.
Yeah, that's right. And let's see, if I had to choose another story I really liked, probably also
A Caravan Named Desire is that episode.
Yeah, that's the one. Man, like I guess it probably has to go with probably one of the 2 episodes before the finale, because I liked seeing the planters interact with Sasha and Grime, even though they're both really uncomfortable by it. But I also like the battle of the bands, because we get to see them more interact with each other in a competition. But then again, I also really like the one where Mayor Toastal tries to redeem himself. He becomes more of a generous mayor and just all around a nicer character. So it's really hard to say my favorite episode from season 2. That is a real tricky one.
I kind of wish we had gotten more episodes of Sasha and Grime pretending to be good, because I feel like we could have gotten so many more funny interactions out of that.
So that when they do turn good, it would feel a little better.
So it makes me sad that we only got 2, because those 2 episodes were the dynamics were really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like if you look closely in like the dinner episode, they're apparently staying in the same house as Ivy and her mom. And I was waiting for a scene for like Ivy to be like super judgmental of them, like not trustworthy of them at all. Like I'm surprised we didn't get that.
Yeah, but I understand, because the season was only 20 episodes, and season 2 had a lot of ground to cover.
Right.
Yeah, like I can only imagine that it's going to be harder for Sasha and Grime to go back to Wartwood to like gain the trust back from everyone else who they just abandoned, and now saying, "Hey, the teen of Amphibia is actually evil. Will you fight with us?" And like, why the heck would we fight with you?
And we can see in that season 3 teaser that eventually they do get them on their side. Like they lead the charge. So it's I'm curious to see how they do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think you need some time to decide what your favorite episode is?
See, that's really hard, because like there's so many episodes on the show that are good. Like I guess probably the Gravity Falls episode, but then again, I also like Nick. I also really like Planters Check In, because that's an episode where we just get Sprig being to himself, just having an absolute ball with it. Like I was just thinking about, but like I guess if I had to go with probably. I'm gonna go with Planners Check In too, because like that one was also really good, and we get great introduction to Teen Andreas at the same time. So that one I'm also gonna. And Kristen Shaw does a pretty good job. Like we usually did Kristen Shaw as just someone who's like wildly energetic, like someone like Mabel or Louise from Bob's Burgers. But here she's like kind of depressed. She's like kind of like bored, and like kind of like a straight man character to Spring's antics. I'm like, it really shows the kind of versatility some of these actors can have with Kristen Shaw.
A bit more like the lunch lady character from Captain Underpants.
Right.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Okay, well, so there you have it, folks. Those are our favorite episodes and characters. Completely not subject to change. There's no way our opinions will ever change on those. So,
Especially with a 3rd season coming.
don't expect us to have different opinions 2 years down the line. It's not like we're dynamic humans or anything with constantly changing opinions.
All right.
We are as static as the electricity on my freshly dried socks.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice. Yeah, but eventually, sometime later, we'll find another cartoon to talk about.
Do you guys want to do a poll?
Sure. Polls are good.
And we can do a poll to see what nominees should be on the poll. So
Right,
multiple polls for the poll.
But how do we determine which ones we want to be able to be nominated for the poll?
We draw straws. I think we pooled our suggestions in the private chat.
Right.
Right, yeah. Okay.
I'd say ideally it would be something we're already familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be week to week. It can just be whenever we feel like it, like bi-monthly even.
Right. And since I'm not nearly as well versed in cartoons as you guys, it'll give me plenty of time to catch up.
Oh, Nick, you didn't. I don't think you got a chance to say what you're looking forward to the most in season 3.
I mean, you guys pretty much covered it all.
Cool. That makes things simpler.
Hooray! Hooray for no expectations.
But
Bum, bum, bum.
So is that a wrap then?
yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right then.
Well, yeah, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you,
We hope you
Carrick.
all are looking forward to season 3 as much as we are. And
Mhm.
let us know what your favorite episodes and characters in the show are.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's keep this discussion going.
Yep.
Let's get it on.
Mhm.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.